Hey guys, how's it going? Kripparrian here. Today, we got some more Rise of Shadows cards for you guys. That's right, they're getting popped out like crazy, and well, it's time to review them. We got star reviews, we got some insane cards this time around, so let's wait and see. First up, we got Duel. Paladin spell, 5 cost. It summons minions from each deck, and they fight. So this is like another new mechanic or something. Basically, they just do damage to one another, I guess. So it's in your best interest to have a deck with large minions. Now, that's kind of possible, but the real angle for this card is actually ComboDisruption. What we're seeing right now is a lot of combo cards, and my initial impression was that Blizzard just is not going to go the combo route again, so they're probably not going to be very good. But the more cards that we see from the Rise of Shadow expansion, the more we see combo disruption tools. So there's a good chance we're going to get a lot of new combos, but we're also guaranteed to get a lot of combo disruption. So cards like this one might be deceptively good. There's another little consideration here. While this card is not particularly good with Baleful Banker, if you use this with Baleful Banker and you are yourself playing a combo deck, you can recover potentially the combo piece that you fight out. So if everyone's playing combo, as Paladin with a Duel, you can play combo with combo disruption. You have like the safety nets. So it's actually really interesting. I very much like this card. I think there's some potential for it. The more I see combo disruptors, the more I think they're viable. I'm going to give Duel a 4-star rating. I think it is a solid card, even though it looks really weak. You know, you look at Duel, you're like, yeah, okay, you maybe kill something, but the combo disruption, the fact that it's a build around that you might actually use in an existing combo deck, there's a lot there. There's a lot there that a lot of people won't see at start, but I have a feeling this card is going to see some play, and it's certainly quite strong. Next up, we have way more combo disruption tools. Unseen Saboteur. 6 cost 5/6, so the stats suck, but it's neutral. And the battle cry is your opponent casts a random spell from their hand with random targets. So they lose that card, and you have to keep in mind, like, spells are both positive and negative. And a lot of the time, spells, you want to really pick the spot where you use it. So, like, think of a spell that's basically good all the time. Flame Strike. You play this, and it just gets Flame Strike by itself. Your opponent doesn't have Flame Strike anymore. That's a pretty big deal, right? Also, if your opponent's playing some kind of buffs, well, you play this, you can actually steal the buff. Or perhaps your opponent is playing tools that have specific targets that are not met. Perhaps your opponent is playing, direct damage combos, and if it's not played with the other combo pieces on the board, you basically ruin their combo. It's combo disruption. So this card is actually incredibly good. I have a feeling we are going to see a decent bit of this card. I think there's actually some chance that this card will shape the meta, so I'm going to give it a 5-star rating. Kripp, you're crazy. You're giving too many stars out for these cards. But really, it looks like this expansion is shaping up to be one with extremely high power level. I think the intention of the development team is to give us a brand new face of Hearthstone, and this is what we're getting. And so far, it looks really compelling, I would say. Next up, we have Shadowy Figure. It is a priest card that transforms itself into a 2/2 copy from a Death Rattle minion. So, it's a pretty restrictive version of some other forms of minion copy that we've seen in the past. It's pretty difficult to use this. The idea is if you're using this, you don't need like another minion on the board. So it's ideal if you have large Death Rattle minions if you're also playing a Resurrect deck. My opinion is, so far, we don't quite have all the resurrection tools that we want, so it's pretty difficult because this is kind of like the last piece. The other resurrection tools are better than this card. I can't say it's like hopeless because, with more resurrection tools, well, it's more hope for the resurrection mechanic. So yeah, I'd say this is a solid 3-star card. It needs quite a bit of help, but, it's starting to shape up okay. It's just it being on the very last card you'd put in your res deck. It's difficult to say this will be a front runner in any case, but the power level is not bad. The combo potential is there. Nozari, Paladin, Legendary. 10 cost, 4/12. 12 dragon, restore both heroes to full health. Holy crap. We have, you know, the what is it? The heal everything card, man. Tree of Life. We have Tree of Life coming back into Hearthstone. Both players go to full. This is an incredible effect. If you're playing a control Paladin deck, this is all the healing you'll ever need. It's a decently sized minion. It's just so cool. You know, I take a look at this card, I'm like, how can you really play a 10 drop? There are other ways to heal as a Paladin. So I think to myself, this is probably a 3-star card. And honestly, I am going to rate it 3 stars. But I try to not underestimate heal effects. It's just, Paladin's kind of got some healing already. So, I don't know. I might be horribly wrong on this one, but I think Paladin doesn't really need more healing right now. And Nozari doesn't really help out with that. I think Nozari can come back in a pretty big way next expansion, or next standard cycle, when we lose some of the Paladin healing tools. But right now, Paladin's doing okay with the healing, so I think it's difficult to slot this card in the deck, but I'm going to play it anyway, because it's just so cool. Marked Shot is a new Hunter card. This is a particularly interesting card because it is a spell that removes something, and then you discover a spell that probably removes something else. So it's kind of like Twin Spell, but not really. But it can be pretty powerful. We have new spell damage tools through Thoradol, the legendary weapon spawned by one of the new legendary Hunter cards. So, you know, possibly, Hunter spells are going to be more relevant than before. But nonetheless, 4 damage for 4, it's not bad. Discover a spell, it's not bad. The value game is certainly one that people can start playing. I see this as a very strong arena card, but we need a lot more spells, and particularly a lot more spells that can hit your opponent in the face before this becomes a thing in Constructed. And, well, we've seen a decent bit of the set right now. Doesn't look like that's going to happen this time around, but who knows? For now, I'd say it's a 3-star card. It's just very, very good card, but Constructed, things move a bit too quickly for Marked Shot to see a whole lot of play. Katrina Muerte. We have the new Priest legendary. It's an 8-cost 6/8. The end of your turn, summon a friendly minion that died this game. So this follows more into the resurrection mechanic that Priest seems to be getting quite a lot of. Very easy comparison to this is Kel'Thuzad. So, you have just something on the board that's pretty difficult to remove and constantly brings absolutely crazy value nonstop. Now, I think Kel'Thuzad is a little bit better, but it's not necessarily better. With Kel'Thuzad, the problem is you need something on the board before you play Kel'Thuzad. You need to be able to actually sacrifice it off, and that's how you get value off of the card. With Katrina, you can play it open board. That's a pretty big deal. If you lost some stuff in the previous turn, maybe even a notable large taunt minion, you can play this, get your taunt back right away. You don't need to be kind of like marginally or maybe even actually winning by quite a bit to actually play this card as opposed to Kel'Thuzad. The effect is obviously a lot weaker, but, with Constructed being fairly cutthroat for board control, for, all the rest, Katrina might actually be more viable than Kel'Thuzad. Now, Kel'Thuzad was hardly a front runner in competitive Hearthstone, but it was almost there. It saw play in a lot of like tier 2, tier 3 decks, some very cool combos, and I think Katrina is a little bit better than that. I'm going to say that Katrina is a very strong card. I still don't see the whole res thing working out quite yet, but Priest getting a lot of res cards, so, the more Priest cards we see, the more res cards there are, the more the whole archetype gets bumped up. I think that's come to a point where I can safely rate Katrina 4 stars. I think it's a pretty solid card. I think you can just play this in almost any Priest deck if you want just a crazy late game minion, and if you have a little bit of res mechanics, it can do a lot of work. Lastly today we have Batterhead. It's an 8-cost rush minion. It's neutral, and after it attacks and kills a minion, it can attack again. So, one would look at this card and you'd think, well, it's not bad. You kill a few things. It's kind of like a board clear. But yeah, turn 8, it's pretty difficult to see a turn 8 play, removing a lot of small minions working out. Typically, if you're going to remove a lot of small minions, you want to do it a lot earlier in the game. So it's pretty tough sell for a typical deck. But I think the creative side that I've seen on Reddit and over the Hearthstone community talking about this card might actually be a little bit more practical. There's ways that you can buff this card so it actually does something pretty good. If you can give it a little bit of attack, it suddenly can do like a 2-for-1 or 3-for-1 removal option. Even get into like 5-6 attack, suddenly it can actually count as a really powerful board clear. It's pretty difficult to combo up with that, but I think the card is not bad. I'm going to give it 3 stars. The 3-star cards typically don't see constructed play, but they're solid considerations. They're not cards that are going to weigh your deck down too much. So it's one of these cards that if you think the deck you're making kind of fits with it and you have the card, give it a try and see what happens. That's it for today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Make sure to check out the prior ones and the ones to come.